I'd like to call this meeting of the Princeton City Council to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mayor Mabry.
Here.
Councilmember Newman.
Here.
Gomez.
Here.
McCall.
Here.
McCransky.
Here. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're already up to, I should say, a public comment period. We have public comment period at the beginning of the meeting as well as at the end. And all you need to do is just state your name at the podium here if you'd like to address the council on any issue possible. Seeing none, again, we'll have the opportunity at the end of the meeting. We're going to go now to the minutes from the regular council meeting of August 21st, 2023 approval.
I move that we approve the minutes from our regular council meeting on August 21st, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any comments from the council? Seeing none, clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
McCransky.
Aye.
Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Thank you. Now we're going to go to invoices with City Clerk Pete Nelson.
For this period, in the Department of Accounts and Finances, we have invoices totaling $172,040.27. In the Department of Streets and Public Improvements, we have invoices totaling $381,109.22. In the Department of Public Safety, we have invoices totaling $184,663.61. And in the Department of Public Property and Utilities, we have invoices totaling $184,504.37. For a grand total of $737,813.10. Mayor, all council members present have confirmed their reviews of all invoices and now are submitted for disposition.
I move that we approve the invoices as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions from the council? Seeing none, clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
Pardon me?
Aye.
Okay. McCall.
Aye.
McCransky.
Aye.
Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Thank you, Pete.
Next on the agenda is Ordinance O-23-013. This is an ordinance authorizing the terms of a First Amendment to a site lease agreement with, I forgot what it's called, Sprint, I guess, basically. Mayor, all council members have reviewed this ordinance and it is submitted for disposition. This is the first reading.
I move that we advance ordinance O-23-013 to the second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any questions, comments? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
McCransky.
Aye.
Mayor Mabry.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is, well, I'll just explain that the city advertised for and received bids for a new electric department warehouse building. Bids were accepted on August 24th. Once all the bids, we had 4 bidders on that. Once we received all the bids, the electric department determined that all of the bids were much greater than anticipated. Therefore, the department is going to change the specs, and they recommend rejection of all bids.
Do we need council action on that, Pete?
We do.
We do. Okay. Is there a motion to reject these bids?
I move that we reject the bids for the electric department storage building.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall.
Aye.
McCransky.
Aye.
Mayor Mabry.
Aye. Okay, now to the city manager report. Teresa.
In your packet, you have the May and June of 2023 monthly financial reports. I will jump right to the June report, so you have the most up to date. Is that static? Get outside. In the June report, as you look at the expenditures and revenues, we're fairly, I track as of June. I will point out, if you want to go to page 7. Actually, 2 pages before that, 5 and 6, you'll see the expenditures compared to the budget for each of the departments. Everything's fairly in line. You will see police and fire, and a little bit on electric may seem a little higher than some of the other departments. It's mainly because as the new budget comes into play, we start to buy some of that equipment that is needed that was approved during the justification phase. So you'll see some higher expenditures at the beginning. So that's not uncommon. Page 7. I will point out, because this one is a little bit different on economic development, you see that blue line for expenditures is significantly higher than the other departments. That's because our debt payments are due at the beginning of the fiscal year. So we really hit those payments right off the bat. Down below on page 8 for the sales tax, we're still trending high, not higher as we had been a couple of the months, but I will keep an eye on this as we go forward through probably November, December, watch it real close. Those tend to go up a little bit. When I look at the state use tax and some of the other taxes that are in revenue that are coming in, they're still trending higher or pretty much in level. Actually, that's median to trend here too. Step back.
They work on they work on the sound system.
The next page is, I've had a couple discussions with council on this. Hotel motel tax, we've seen a significant change starting in May. We have revisited this and we're investigating what's going on with the hotel motel tax. We think we've figured it out. However, what I will say is we are looking at measures to investigate a little bit tighter on these. And we will be revisiting a way to make sure that the hotel motel tax is being paid to local. So, in the rest of your report on page 11, the CDs. Sometimes we get questions on the CDs. We have 2 CDs there at the bottom. One is state asset seizures. That one should have rolled over, so you'll start to see some higher interest rates on those CDs. And then we have one coming due for electric surplus, and we expect to see at least a double on that one for interest rates. So we're starting to see some growth there. Page 13 and 14, a quick update on your debt payment. In total, just within that month there, period ending 6/30, we've already paid down $400,000 in principal and over $55,000 in interest. The top 2 for Heartland Bank and Central Bank up there for fire truck and street improvements. Those you'll see a blank at the balance at the end of the month. The EOM, who basically retired those 2 debts. So I like to see those blanks there. So that's good to see. That's all I have for that. Next item, just reiterating what Pete just described for the electric department storage building. The new bids will be accepted September 7th. Through September 7th at 10 a.m. Oh wait.
I think did I write that wrong?
September 7th through September 21st, I think.
You can start bidding on September 7th, and you can end bidding on September 21st.
And then the packets and stuff will be available at City Hall and on the website like we did the last time. You also have the homestead flyer over there. Big week for the city. I'll just reiterate. I'll tell the department heads tomorrow the same thing. Thank you for all their hard work, because this is the weeks leading up to homestead. It's all hands on deck, and they do an absolute fantastic job, especially when you're behind the scenes and you're seeing everything that takes place. It's impressive. It really is. So you see them out this home. Good job. They love to hear it. So. Also over there is a flyer for the Star and Plaque on September 7th up there, 7:30, which is our street concert as well. At 4 o'clock, we'll be honoring Gary Green. If everybody knows Gary Green here in town. Founding a lifetime member of the British progressive rock band Gentle Giant. He does live here in Princeton still with his wife, Judy, and is still playing guitar and doing some lessons and stuff. So it'll be a great event up there. There's actually going to be a film crew in town to do a documentary on him at the same time, so really exciting. So we really want to showcase Princeton for this. So, any questions?
I'm just kind of curious about the electric department storage building. I mean, the quotes that we had were as high as 700 and as low as 500, and we're below the 500,000 mark in terms of what we are capable of.
We budgeted 580. The lowest bid was 538, I believe, but that did not include the concrete work.
Oh, okay.
Where the other ones did.
Okay.
So we need to make sure that all the bids are the same.
So they tweaked it, and they're going to send it out a second time.
Well, we're going to try to reevaluate, not we, I'm not going to, the electric department, they'll relook at the project and figure out things that they could possibly do to help with some of the costs. It's great when we do have that skill to be able to let them tackle some of the stuff on their own, but they're determined to get underneath that budgeted amount, which I appreciate, and I'm sure you guys appreciate too. So.
Okay, thanks, Teresa.
Is that it, Teresa?
Yeah.
Good question, Jerry. Excellent. Now we're going to go to the mayor's report. Before I begin the mayor's report, I do want to extend our condolences as a city to the family of Terry Matson, his wife Deb, their children and grandchildren. I asked Pete Nelson, our city clerk, to give a little summary of Terry's service to our city. Pete, if you would.
Well, I'm cheating. I'm reading off the obituary. But this was a great obituary for Terry. You read it in the paper already. And there's some things that that I think people may not realize about Terry. And, you know, I was like to say I was a friend of Terry's, but I was not social. We didn't do a lot of social things together. But I was struck by this obituary, and I'll explain why. First of all, you know, he had tremendous education. He was appointed judge of the 13th Judicial District in 1994. But he also had argued cases in front of the Illinois Supreme Court and many other courts. A lot of people may not realize that Terry was on the prosecution team for John Wayne Gacy, one of the largest serial killers in America, and was successful. What struck me about Terry, not only his service of 8 years on the council sitting in Hector's seat, Terry would quietly evaluate the discussions that were going on. And you thought maybe he wasn't paying attention sometimes, or was glib about some of it. But invariably, he would pose a question to the council that clearly illustrated that not only was he paying attention, but he was also offering solutions to maybe some arguments that we were having amongst ourselves. He was skilled at that. And that was extremely valuable to have at the time. You know, his obituary talks about his volunteerism in his community. You know, I don't know if there's anybody that could really match the amount of hours and the 8-day weeks sometimes he would put forth in giving of volunteer hours for so many causes. But listen to these causes, some of the ones that struck me. The NCI Works Youth Committee, SAPASA Leadership Team, the Illinois River Road, the Princeton Chamber of Commerce, the Illinois Youth Court Association, the Bureau County Teen Court Advisory Board, the Illinois Juvenile Justice Initiative Board, the Juvenile Boot Camp, the Governor's Joint Legal Task Force on Juvenile Justice, Children in the Courts Foundation. You see a pattern here? The Suburban Chicago YMCA Board of Directors. And on a side note, Homestead Festival Parade Committee Chair for 26 years. You know, you talk about a sustainable volunteer, he was one. And it's rarer these days. So this community is markedly better for what Terry's participation was and his contribution was to us. There's much more here, but like the mayor said, that I'm sure the city extends its is deepest sympathy and gratitude for the time Terry chose to be with us. That's all I got, Mayor.
Very good, Pete. Thank you very much. That's very fitting. And I appreciate you taking the responsibility for saying those words. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, wow. Now we move on, but we don't forget Terry Madison, obviously, in many, many ways. We're going to go ahead now and go to what I call Positively Princeton, and I'm going to go down here to the podium and say a few words, and we're going to introduce some guest speakers this evening. First off, what we do is Positively Princeton is just a way for community organizations or even small businesses to come to the council and give us a little update of what they have going on. We've had some really good presentations, and we as a council are learning as well, so we appreciate that. I'm going to start with the Daughters of the American Revolution, and I'm going to read this proclamation. So coming up the week of September 17th through September 23rd is Constitution Week, and this is the proclamation that we're reading this evening. Whereas it is the privilege and duty of the American people to commemorate the 236th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America with appropriate ceremonies and activities, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Raymond Mabry, as mayor of the city of Princeton, Illinois, hereby proclaim the week of September 17th, 2023 through September 23rd, 2023 as Constitution Week in the city of Princeton, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution while reflecting on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities inherent to that privilege. Signed and sealed this 5th day of September, 2023, Raymond Mabry, Mayor, and Pete Nelson, City Clerk. So with that said, we've invited the Daughters of the American Revolution to come speak, and the two representatives that we have this evening is Miss Gardner and Miss Little. They're going to come speak to us, please.
Hi, my name is Nancy Gardner. I'm the regent for the Princeton, Illinois chapter of the National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution. With me is Gail Little. Gail is the Constitution Week chairman. We are the Daughters of the American Revolution. We are a volunteer service organization dedicated to promoting historic preservation, education, and patriotism. More than 1 million women have been a part of DAR since its founding in 1890. There are nearly 3,000 chapters in all 50 states, the D.C., and several foreign countries. Our chapter has been serving Princeton since April 13, 1896. We have 55 members from Bureau County and as far away as Texas, South Carolina, Michigan, Oklahoma, and Indiana. We come from diverse backgrounds, but have a common bond of our lineal descent from the patriots of the American Revolution. We care about fostering good citizenship with our annual Good Citizen Awards to area high school seniors, and learning about and preserving American history by giving American History Essay Awards to Bureau County junior and high school students. We honor our veterans with service projects to nursing home and our LaSalle Veterans Home, and being part of the Memorial Day and Veterans Day ceremonies. With Veterans Day ceremonies, our chapter has coffee for our local VFW region veterans. We support active duty troops through a variety of national programs. This year, we honored Brad Oder as our outstanding veteran volunteer. Brad was not only our chapter's outstanding veteran, but he was also named the Illinois Outstanding Veteran Volunteer and the North Central Divisions, which is comprised of 7 Midwestern states. Our members volunteer their time by serving local historical groups such as the Lovejoy Homestead, the Genealogical Society, and the Bureau County Historical Society as board members, docents, and doing essential tasks that assist our societies to make a difference. This month, the week of September 17th through September 23rd, we honor the 236th anniversary of the signing of our founding document, the Constitution of the United States of America. On September 17th at 4 p.m., our chapter will ring bells to celebrate the signing that took place at Independence Hall in Philadelphia on September 17th, 1887 at 4 p.m. Gail Little, our Constitution Week chairman, places a display honoring this week in our Princeton Public Library. Gail and Margaret Martinez present an excellent display that everyone should take some time to visit. Thank you, Mayor Mabry and the council members for letting the Princeton, Illinois chapter and Daughters of the American Revolution be part of your Positively Princeton portion of this meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. I think this evening's theme is patriotism and volunteerism. So let's give a big round of applause to Brad Oder for what he was given. And that was at the state level he received that award. That's great. Fantastic. So another organization that's in our presence tonight, and we're excited to have them, is Flags of Freedom. And we know a little bit about the history because the flag's been flying out there for almost 20 years now. But Tom Root is one of the committee chair people. He's going to give a report on Flags of Freedom, what's going on, and also they have a major fundraiser coming up at the end of the month. Tom Root, please.
Thanks, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm honored to be here tonight to be able to talk about the Flags of Freedom, something that's near and dear to my heart, obviously. And as we go through a brief, short history lesson on the Flags of Freedom, I want to make sure that I recognize a few people that were very instrumental in making this all come together. And as you can see out here, there are lots of blue shirt Flags of Freedom people. I'm not going to name everybody, but I definitely want them all to stand up. They are all our volunteers that help make the Flags of Freedom possible. Thank you. Not everybody is here tonight, but we have about 20 volunteers that keep those beautiful flags flying. And that's our motto, keep them flying. But anyway, post 9/11 for our country experienced a wave of patriotism. It was on this wave in 2003 while driving back home to Princeton from Worthington, Florida. Jack Scott and his friend Harry Burroughs were emotionally moved by the sight of two large flags in a little town on the interstate called Unadilla, Georgia. And Jack didn't know that in that moment, but the concept of what would someday be the Flags of Freedom was born. When Jack got home to Princeton, he began to share the experience of seeing the flags, and he had a vision of a memorial with his friend Harry, and they decided to take their vision to myself, who at the time was the Princeton police chief, and I was also a command sergeant major in the Army. And it would be a huge undertaking, but I was definitely on board. A small committee was formed, co-chaired by Jack and myself, to research the possibility and the cost of such a memorial and an undertaking. It was decided that the memorial would be for veterans and current armed forces and their families, and also for all future service members. A unique memorial focused at giving everyone who views it a feeling of pride in our country, and a tribute to honor the past, present, and future members of the armed services and all veterans. The original plan was 4 flags to be placed in the 4 green spaces formed by the cloverleaf at I-80 and Route 26, exit 56. Unfortunately, IDOT did not approve the plan. Go figure, right? But private property would have to be found to make this happen. 4 locations were generously obtained at Days Inn, American, Pioneer, and the Road Ranger truck stop. Currently our same locations today. Estimates of the cost for the poles and installation were received from Steve Simons of America Flags and Poles out of Texas. The poles would be 150 feet above ground with 25 feet below in a sand base. The estimated cost of the poles and installation would be $50,000 each. Additional funds would also be needed to bring electricity to the poles, lights, and of course the flags themselves. The original flags were 30 feet by 60 feet, 1,800 square feet, and they were all cotton. They weighed 100 pounds apiece, and they were made in the USA. It took 4 men to raise each flag. If the wind caught a flag, it could and occasionally would lift a man off the ground, which it still does to this day when we change them out. An engineer was hired to draw up the sketches and plans and the estimated cost. An attorney was used to handle the legal aspects. The first official Flags of Freedom Committee was formed in 2004 with a purpose to raise money. The committee was made up of 60 people in all walks of life from Princeton and the surrounding area. So you must know that it's not just for the city of Princeton. These flags are for our country. Just because they're located in Princeton, that just gives us the right to bear that we did this first, and we wanted to honor all of our veterans. The committee raised over $300,000 in less than a year. It took a lot of work. Local tourism tax funds were used by the city of Princeton to help contribute to the flags. Construction of the sites began. The city of Princeton helped by running power under the interstate to all 4 sites. That was a big undertaking itself. And I'll talk more about our relationship with the city of Princeton. By July 2005, 2 years later, all 4 poles were professionally installed by America's Flags and Poles. On a beautiful day on September 10, 2005, in a ceremony that was attended by over 2,400 people, including many local and state dignitaries, with the National Guard providing 4 Black Hawk helicopters that hovered over each flagpole until they were finally raised. Dan Hollinshed, who was the father of U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Lincoln Hollinshed, who gave his life in Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003, said it best about the flags. When these flags of freedom are finally raised and a breeze unfurls their red, white, and blue, it will be a constant salute and recognition to the courage of those who have served, those who now serve, and those who will serve. In 2006, the city of Princeton took over all of the responsibility of maintaining the flags and the poles, maintaining it under the tourism funding. The Flags of Freedom Committee was no longer needed, and we were disbanded. That year, Princeton was recognized for the Governor's Hometown Award for the Flags of Freedom, and also the People's Choice Award at a ceremony that was held in Springfield, Illinois, and it was attended by numerous committee members. In 2016, the overall cost of maintaining the flags became too much for the city. The city of Princeton made a statement that they needed help in funding the cost of the flags and the infrastructure. A group met with the city council, and we discussed that a new committee should be formed with a purpose to raise funds and help support the flags. The current Flags of Freedom I-80 committee was then formed. The Flags of Freedom I-80 began fundraising with cookouts and golf outings. Our biggest event before COVID was a live auction called Rockin' the Runway. We are hopeful to have our live auction again in 2022, which we accomplished, and now we look at 2023, and we're ready for that on September 16th. So just throwing out, if you don't have tickets yet, please get them, because it's an awesome event. If you've been there before, it's a good time. We have gone to the nylon polyester blend flag that lasts much longer than the original all cotton. They're always made in the USA, and we go through about 12 to 16 flags a year at a cost of $1,800 per flag. We purchased an industrial sewing machine so that the flags could be repaired in Princeton and not have to be shipped out for repair. That was kind of costly for us, and at that time the city was actually helping us with that as well. We now have what we call our own Betsy Ross. My wife Darlene and some other people have joined to become the Flags of Freedom seamstresses, and we save a lot of money by cutting the flags back until we have to retire them, or we put them up for sale to various baseball organizations, schools, and so on. When they're trimmed back, when tattered, they go to a certain size. Obviously, we don't want to get them, too squared looking. So usually about 47 feet, and then that's where we cut them off at. And then we no longer put them up on the poles. We want them to look really well out there. We're very lucky to have several flags that have been sponsored each year by local businesses and factories around our community. That helps us a lot in maintaining, keeping our costs down. To help with our investment of funds, we went under the umbrella of the Starved Rock Country Community Foundation. This also gave us the nonprofit 501c3 status, so donations can now be made to the Starved Rock Foundation with Flags of Freedom in the memo line, if you choose to make a donation online. 2020 was a hard year for the flags. It was a tough one. 2 poles needed repairing. They needed new cables, which required a crane to be brought in. And then that large storm that came through the Midwest, it bent one of our flag poles beyond repair. That was the one that was at day's end. We were able to replace the pole in November with the help of the city, because we were still able to maintain insurance on the pole, and we can't thank the city enough for that, for their assistance with that. So that really helped us out a lot. And once again, all 4 flags were flying. Flags of Freedom I-80 is the only memorial of 4 flags on Interstate 80 anywhere in the country. We are a group of about 20, and we are always looking for new members and volunteers, and of course, donations. Our goal is to never forget those that have served, who do serve, who will serve, and the families that love them. We want to keep those flags flying. We can't thank our city with our partnership with them enough. We thank all of our volunteers. And I would now like to present the 2 plaques, the Governor's Hometown Awards that were received in Springfield, to the mayor, and ask that they be placed in City Hall for all to see. That's the People's Choice Award, and this is the City of Princeton Veterans Involvement of Communities 5 to 10,000.
Very good. And we're going to find a place downstairs, and if you don't mind, you'll stick with me in the next week or so. We'll find a spot and make sure to get them right.
Absolutely, we appreciate that.
Very good.
Well, thank you all for allowing me to speak.
These will be up there for you folks to take a look at after the meeting. Very good. Very inspirational. We're going to shift gears as we wrap up Positive Princeton with a kind of interesting series of events as far as for Homestead. This year, Homestead had some really unique ideas. The Michael and Sue Stutzky suggested a balloon theme to the activities, and so the hot air balloons will be flying this weekend. For those people that had some sponsorship, they get to go untethered, and that would mean if you leave Princeton, you may end up in LaSalle, Peru, or you may end up in Hawaii. I don't know if that excites me or not, but let's talk about the people that are a little bit less risk associated. They have tethered balloon rides, and this is the neat thing about this. This is going to be held on Friday night and Saturday night, and as of right now, they have pre-sold 560 of these tethered balloon rides, up and down. 560 people, and as the Stutzkys have followed this, the people that have bought these tickets online, almost 60% of the ticket buyers are from outside Bureau County, and that's what we're after. We want to have a festival for us folks, but we want to encourage people to come visit Princeton, see what it's all about, see our 4 flags of freedom, see the quality of life that we enjoy every day. That's what we really want. And invite our friends and family to come back home. So there's still plenty of tickets left for this event, this tethered balloon ride, and this is a bargain. $15 gets you a round trip up and down. No one way. So think about coming out there both Friday and Saturday nights to the Steering Park. So again, thank you to the DAR, thank you to the Flags of Freedom Committee for being here this evening, and we'll go back now and go back to our regular business. Okay, now we're down to old business. Is there any old business to come before the council? Okay, is there any new business to come before the council? Okay, now we're back to public comment. If anyone would like to make a public comment, last chance. Okay, very good. Jerry, if you would. Sure.
Move that we adjourn our regular meeting this evening and reconvene for our next meeting on Monday, September 18th, 2023, 6 p.m. at City Hall.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Newman.
Aye.
Gomez.
Aye.
McCall. Aye. McCransky. Aye. Mayor Mabry.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Please stick around and visit with the folks who are here. Thank you. No.